health emergency. I have grandchildren that I want to live in a free society, living under the Constitution. Please stop this.
My name is Cindy Paris, and I'm from Ramona, California. And I thank you, Helen Robin Myers, for paying attention. I've watched you the whole session, and you, Mr. Desmond, you have been paying attention the whole session, and I really, really appreciate that. And I know I'm not going to change your mind, Helen, or you, Miss Wooten, or Nathan Fletcher, but I want you to know that you are going to answer to a higher power than even us, the people. And we are going to do what you don't think we can do, because the elections seem to be rigged. But we are going to have our voices heard, and we will overturn this emergency declaration if we have to. And we will outvote you in the polls and at the polls.
Hello, Board of Supervisors. I'm Joseph Weber from Ramona, and I just ask you for a few more minutes of your attention. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, all you that are looking this way. If you could just get off your cell phones and give me a few more minutes. Good afternoon, Nathan Fletcher and Board of Supervisors. I'm here to thank you for exposing yourselves as willing to sell out your country for your personal gain. I thank you, officer, please pay attention. I thank you for awakening the people of San Diego County to the depth of corruption in San Diego County. I thank you for uniting the growing number of citizens who are swarming together to end this corruption, starting with this group who have set their arrogance against their neighbors and friends to destroy them. I'm going to try this one more time. I'm just going to reread the law to you and see if you can catch on. Government Code 8558, which is your standard that you called this local emergency, defines local emergency means the duly proclaimed existence of conditions of disaster or of extreme peril to the safety of persons and property within the territorial limits of a county, caused by conditions such as epidemic, which are or are likely to be beyond the control of the services, personnel, equipment, facilities of that political subdivision. Let me try and break this down simply to you. Let's go over each point in this. Joel, do you have us all memorized? Duly proclaimed. The authorization cited in the 14 February 2020 declaration of a pandemic in San Diego County was the World Health Organization who declared a pandemic for the world. The World Health Organization is not an American entity that can declare a pandemic in San Diego County. You cited the wrong duly elected group. The word pandemic is found nowhere in U.S. California law or either U.S. and California constitutions, and therefore cannot be declared in San Diego County. You used the wrong terminology. Existence of a disaster or an extreme peril on February 14th, and I have all the documentation from your numbers taken from the web, there were 0 COVID-19 deaths or illnesses according to the health officer's own data, which indicates that no disaster existed. On 19 February 2020, Greg Cox stated in the ratification that while the current local situation remains stable, this is what you used to ratify her illegal declaration of a local emergency. Our situation was stable by your own chair's words. And you guys continue on with this false local emergency. indicates no extreme peril ever existed. As of today, the San Diego County health officer has not produced material evidence of a SARS-2 virus 100% isolated from any of the few thousand deaths or illness or thousands of illnesses attributed to COVID-19 that have occurred. Therefore, no extreme peril has been demonstrated or proven, which is what you called for Jim Desmond, and you never got her answer. You never got the proof. As stated in the San Diego County Health Officer's presentation, given to you over and over again, to the Board of Supervisors and presented on her own website, the percentage of deaths was, in March of 2020, let me start that over. I want to get this straight. 0.00032%. Do you think that's an extreme peril? I doubt it. And never exceeded 0.11% at the highest numbers that you have stated in your reports. 0.11%. There is no extreme peril. There is no disaster occurring, and you all know it. And you declared this falsely. You overstepped your authority given to you by the people of this county and this state. Therefore, by the law's definition of a local emergency, the San Diego County Health Officer and the past and existing Board of Supervisors do not have the authority to declare or ratify a local emergency in San Diego County, and still do not. Next part, beyond the control of the San Diego Emergency Services, since there was no extreme peril, nothing has ever gone beyond the control of the emergency services. And the one great thing that President Trump left us was he stationed a military medical ship off the coast of California with instructions that if any hospital in California was ever overwhelmed, send the overlord to that ship. Wilma Wooten, how many beds did San Diego County use on that medical ship? 0, because you didn't want to make President Trump look good, did you? But that's against you. The Board of Supervisors, although seemingly ignorant of these facts, can redeem some integrity by proposing right now to rescind the initial declaration of a local emergency and make every health order, rule, regulation, fine, and law, or any action that authority is null and void.
Thank you. Thank you. Your time is up, sir.
Are you going to do it?
Sir?
If you're not going to rescind it, then I am here, officer, to make a citizen's arrest.
Sir.
And I have 119 people behind me that are willing to make a citizen's arrest. Are you going to register the arrest of these people?
Sir, your time has expired. Your conduct is disruptive.
We're here
asking
for
you
a
to please
citizen's
stop.
arrest on these people.
Sir, this is
Sir,
your
you're
second
in
warning.
charge.
Your conduct is disruptive to the meeting. Your time has expired. Please
My
allow the next
conduct is
speaker
not
to speak.
disruptive. Your conduct has been disruptive.
Sir, that was
You
your
are
second
under
warning.
arrest. By the
Thank you, sir.
14th
I'm gonna
Amendment,
ask
you
the
have
deputy to
automatically...
please escort you out of the meeting. This is your third warning. Your conduct is disrupting the function of the meeting. Your time has expired. Please take a
You're
seat.
denying my right to arrest you.
Please
Are
take
you
a seat or you will
denying
be
my
removed.
right to arrest you?
Sir, please take your seat or you will be removed. This is your third warning. Your time has expired. You can't impede the next speaker's ability to
Then
speak.
you're all guilty.
Okay. Next speaker, please.
Okay. Am I ready to go?
Ma'am,
My name is
ma'am,
Tracy Garcia.
Before you begin speaking, the last group presentation after this group will, are the individuals Gabrielle LaBelle, Durban JVR, and London JVR.
Ready? Hi, my name is Tracy Garcia, and I really do appreciate you paying attention to me. And I'm here not because I want to be here. I'm super nervous, and my heart is beating, but I'm going to do this because I feel I have to do this. There is no proof that the COVID-19 shots administered are safe or effective. People have been led to believe that this is like our past vaccines that would use an actual piece of a virus in the vaccine. And you all know that this is simply not true. Instead, you are getting instructions to cause your cells to create spike proteins, a known toxin, to purposely replicate a pathogen throughout your body, maybe forever, we don't know, and hope that it will create an immune response or infection response. They never measured immune response or infection response in any of the clinical trials. And in past years, when they did do animal trials for this type of vaccine, the animals did okay at first, and then they came in contact with, when they came in contact with coronaviruses, they all died. Everybody knows this. I know you all know this too. They died. The CDC and all the agencies that are pushing their recommendations are lying, and people don't know this because we can't speak usually anywhere. These are safe and effective. They are not. At best, they don't have any data to support this. Not even you, Dr. Wooten. What we do know so far, and everyone should look into these facts, is that these shots don't stop or slow the spread of COVID or variants. This is already known. They say this. They admit this. This is not what it's meant to do. It's supposed to lessen your symptoms when you get COVID, which you probably would never get. And if you had used other things, you wouldn't be in the hospital. Anyway, I'm side note, sorry. Back on track. We do know so far that myocarditis is huge right now, happening at double the rate that it used to. That there's unusual blood clotting. You all know this. You're hearing this. There's tons more heart attacks and strokes being caused by blood clotting that is coming from these vaccines. Are you still with me? I see a lot of people not with me right now. I really need your time, because I'm shaking here, but I'm doing this because I have to get this message out. It also negatively affects fertility. I'm not going to go into that. We know that. Then finally, the VAERS report, which is only showing 1% of what's really there. It's a Harvard study. They know that no one's reporting to this, but this is the only reporting system we've had for decades. They're reporting 12,000 or more deaths. There's a whistleblower that says there's 45,000. I'll go with the 11,000. The system is so far behind in reporting, it's way more than that. We know that. And even with that, and these numbers that are so probably way too low, the number of severe adverse reactions is well over 240,000. The swine flu vaccine in 1976 was halted after only 26 deaths. How many have to die from this COVID shot before we halt this and take a look at what we're doing? What is going on? People need to have all the information before taking a shot that is irreversible. Does everyone know that in this whole world that's watching this right now? Once you take this and make this huge decision for yourself, it's irreversible. You can't stop it. So you better know what you're putting in your body. Why would you want to inject someone with a potentially lethal substance anyway? But we have these known therapeutics. Dr. Wooten, you know about HCQ, ivermectin, budesonide. So many doctors and scientists have been showing and working on the front lines that this works. Why don't you want that to be on the forefront of what we're doing for our community? If people are informed of these risks and choose to get the shot, that's fine. That's their personal decision. It's all of your decisions. Go for it. The Nuremberg Code of 1947 says that the voluntary consent of the human subject is absolutely essential. Why are you pushing San Diego businesses to require an experimental injection that has no proof of safety or effectiveness? The propaganda and the coercion is off the charts and purposely creating division and anger in our own community. Point one, why people have been convinced that they have to do this and that other people that don't shouldn't live, really. Not only should vaccine mandates never be implemented, but the media and the county board representatives right here need to stop pushing it. Start telling the truth or resign. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Raquel Hall. Thank you for having us. Have you ever thought to yourself, I wish I was alive in the time of Hitler just to be able to make that a difference to try to stop that psychopath, that crazy lunatic from mass murdering? Have you ever thought how in God's name was that lunatic able to get away with genocide and the leaders helped? Why? How? I'll tell you how. It was a slowly over time, over many, many years. It was a strategic process and it took a long time. These lunatics created massive fear. They installed paid-off leaders, one position at a time, starting from the bottom up. The bribes, the threatening of the families until they got what they wanted by force, even if they had to commit murder, and it was at all cost. These lunatics shut down the economy and stalled panic many times repeatedly over the years. These lunatics turned its people against each other and divided the country. They made the public hate, and I mean hate each other. Neighbors were calling authorities on one another for breaking small tyrannic laws. As they watched their neighbors being carried out and murdered, it became a normal way of life. Did you know that Mark Dice was recently in Pacific Beach conducting a study asking people to sign a petition to imprison those who are unvaccinated? He received hundreds of signatures in a short amount of time. Can you believe this? People signed to imprison other citizens. It was a test to see how evil people really are. And the idiots saw nothing wrong with watching people who have the right to decide what goes into their bodies imprisoned. Now, the ironic thing is we are told by the CDC, those who are vaccinated are the very people who are creating this new Delta variant. Now, do you want the same laws? Do you see how these lunatics are turning us against each other? Communism is here. Wake up. The fake leader of our nation who can barely form a sentence and his evil cabal live behind gated communities with armed bodyguards. These people open up our borders to the world, allowing dangerous people to enter. Other countries are laughing at us while they empty out their prisons. America is now leading in #1 in child sex and human trafficking and slavery. We're #1, courtesy of the Biden regime. Many come with COVID. They are being forced vaccinated, but the lunatics in power are telling us to shut up, get the shot, muzzle your face, and close our businesses and schools. These lunatics hate America. These evil lunatics hate us. Have you ever thought, how the heck did China become a communist country ruled by tyrannical governments, harvesting organs from live people? Yes, if you don't know this to be a fact, then you're still watching the communist channels like CNN, Fox, ABC, and all the C channels. C for communism. You should be listening to Mike Lindell, General Flynn, Thrive Time Show with Clay Clark, Dinesh D'Souza, War Room with Steve Bannon, The Little Talk Show, Brad Barton, and we know with LT, X22 Report, Jeremy Harrell, Epoch Times, Beyond the Noise, Eye Opener, and the list goes on and on with true American-loving patriots who are fighting for our freedom. There are so many people fighting for our freedom, including everyone here, but the hatred is stopping the brainwash from seeing the truth. Just the fact that I have to stand here before you begging for my freedom, begging to keep our schools open, begging to open up our businesses and stop more from closing, begging the very businesses that we the people created shows that we have lost our freedom. Defund the police? Have you all lost your mind? Are you serious? Defund the police. This is crazy people talk. How did we get here? We were born free by God. Our Constitution was written to keep us free. Those who wrote it knew crazy people would try to enslave us. The freedom is not yours to take. Or the crazy government that pays you off. They do not have any right, and you do not have any right to do this to us. Mark my word, the very people that pay you off will turn on you. Every single one of you. These lunatics, once they get what they want, you'll mean nothing to them.
Ma'am, you have 1 minute remaining.
The promise they made were lies. I know you will regret it, but it'll be too late. We are at war with the very people and leaders who are supposed to protect us, the very people we love and trust. The sooner we realize this, the sooner we can get back our country. Never shut us down. We will not comply. We will never stop fighting. We will never give up. God wins. Thank you for your time.
One of the most important values in the United States has always been individual freedom. Individuals have always been protected by constitutional...
Could you please state your name for the audio record?
Terry Engel.
Thank you.
One of the most important values in the United States has always been individual freedom. Individuals have always been protected by constitutional guarantees. They have been promised that their individual basic rights will be protected by their government. Our government has enacted laws to protect individuals from discrimination and mistreatment based upon their medical status, their religion, race, ethnic heritage.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Protection of the individual has been a basic American value since the founding of this nation.
Your 10-minute period for your group presentation has expired. We need to hear from the next speakers.
I haven't had much of a chance to speak.
Well,
I have
your
a short...
group had 10 minutes, and your first speaker took the overwhelming majority of us. You've got to follow the rules of procedure, and we've got a lot of other speakers. So your time has expired. We're going to ask you to please take your seat.
I absolutely oppose this taking away individual freedoms and rights of the individual to choose what is injected directly into their body.
Need you to take your seat, please. Next speaker.
The remaining group in opposition is Gabrielle Labelle, Durbin JVR, and London JVR. Again, that's Gabrielle Labelle, Durbin JVR, and London JVR. We'll move on to the individual speakers. We'll come back to them at the next appropriate time. I'm going to be calling individual speakers in groups of 5, so please listen for your name. We'll give you time to come to the chamber from the overflow rooms. The first group of individual speakers is Lana Cotton, Shira Donsky, Anna Holmes, Michael Summers, and Tracy Moran. You may come forward in any order, and I'll ask you to please state your name for the audio record. Individual speakers will have 2 minutes to address the board.
Hi, my name is Lana Cotton. The government states that they are following the data, following the science, but specifics supporting their mandates are never given. The following information is from America's FrontlineDoctors.org. The size of a virus particle is much too small to be stopped by a surgical mask, cloth, or bandana. It would be like throwing sand at a chain-link fence. It doesn't work. On the other hand, bacteria are 50 times larger than virus particles, and they remain trapped inside the mask, resulting in the mask wearer continually exposed to the bacteria. The fact is, after reviewing all the studies worldwide, the CDC found, quote, no reduction in viral transmission with the use of face masks. A study in Taiwan concluded that the use of N95 masks in healthcare workers caused them to experience a low level of oxygen in the blood and elevation in the blood's carbon dioxide level. Studies of simple surgical masks found significant reductions in blood oxygen as well. The statute granting the FDA the power to authorize a medical product of emergency use requires that the person being administered the unapproved product be advised of his or her right to refuse administration of the product. This right is rooted in the Nuremberg Code of 1947. The law is very clear. It is unlawful to conduct medical research, even in an emergency, unless steps are taken to secure informed consent of all participants. You are promoting the idea that masks can prevent or treat a disease, which is an illegal, deceptive practice. The FDA EUA for surgical and/or cloth masks specifically stated, quote, the labeling must not state or imply that the mask is intended for antimicrobial or antiviral protection or related, or for use such as infection prevention or reduction. Children have a statistically 0 chance of dying from COVID. The CDC shows the K-12 mortality rate from or with COVID is 0.00003. Any intervention must cause fewer harms. Requiring them to wear a mask may put them in an increased risk of infection, having a far worse outcome, which generates liability to those illegally mandating investigational medical therapy. Don't mask our children.
Your time is up. Next speaker, please.
Greetings, my name is Michael Summers. I'm 71 years old, and I'm not living in fear of COVID or any other flu virus. 2,000 years ago, a great Greek philosopher, Plato, broke information down into 2 camps. Knowledge, which contains certainty, and opinion, which is not certain. The decision for the mask and vaccine mandates is not based upon knowledge, that is, conventional science. It is voodoo politics. Your mandates are based upon your conflicting opinion. The CDC and other corporate mouthpieces are no longer a trusted source of medical information. Your opinion based upon conflicting and politically censored information is not a basis for draconian and un-American mandates. No one has come forward with a substantive scientific argument for mandates. Therefore, you do not have the scientific, moral, or political authority to override my personal freedom to exercise my right to reasonably determine what is best for me and my family. I ask you to give credence to liberty based upon the ideals of the Constitution rather than upon the opinion of compromise, media, medical, and political ignorance, and rescind your COVID mandates. When all the smoke clears, how do you think your decisions will be judged? Thank you.
my name is-
Sorry, ma'am, before you begin, I'll call 5 additional speakers. Kay Jacobs, Sean Frederickson, Patty Stottlemyre, Alan Curry, and Amy Reichert. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Tracy Moran, and I'm curious, what is this obsession with getting shots in every arm? A phrase that we keep hearing relentlessly now. I believe it's just more propaganda in training humanity. But plenty of us know that these shot mandates and vaccine passports are not about protecting public health. And how do we know that? Because one, they don't include the COVID recovered who have